What do you think is like some of the biggest obstacles that our agencies are going to be facing in the next few years?
I mean, staffing is always going to be an issue. And, obviously, if you're able to, you can always offer better work environment, better pay, to attract the people you want. Other challenges, or getting in touch with people as we've all seen with stir shaking and all that stuff, that makes challenges.
Insurance dudes are on a mission to escape being handcuffed by our agencies.
How? By uncovering the secrets to creating a predictable, consistent, and profitable agency sales machine.
I am Craig Pretzinger.
I am Jason Feldman.
We are agents.
We are insurance dudes. Right now, while it's fresh in your mind, check out live.teledudes.com.
We took our notes from over 100 interviews with top agents from around the country and made it into a live webcast.
Using these strategies led Craig and I to selling more than $10 million in premium in the last 2 years.
On this call, you'll receive the exact blueprint to get the same results.
Just go to live.teledudes.com to register for this upcoming Tuesday's live call with us.
If you jump on this call with us, we're certain 2022 will be an absolutely fantastic year for you.
See you there. What would you say out of all of that is like your number one most effective trading tip that any agent could just take and run with?
Consistency, hands down. If you don't do anything consistently, it's not going to work.
Yeah,
and that's the number one thing. If you just do it, like Nike would say, But they were right on the point of that one. Is as long as you do something, you're better off than doing nothing.
Right. Yep. 100%.
So how about motivation? What kind of things do you do to keep the team motivated? Anything that you could share that's worked really well in your office?
Yeah, so I mean, definitely we're big on celebrating. Celebrate any win, whether it's, hey, I overcame this objection, that was awesome. Even if they didn't close that deal, we love to, hear that. We might share that, if it's recorded, we might share that in one of our next meetings so everybody can hear and work off of. I feel like I might offer a little bit better of a comp plan than most right now, but that's probably just because I'm just trying to attract everyone as possible. But, I love the work-life balance aspect. I love to see my people, hey, go take a trip, go do something fun. I love to travel. My wife, my kids, we love traveling. We travel a lot. And, so that's really fun. So I really encourage the team, hey, hit this benchmark or something like that. Let's send you somewhere for the weekend, have a good time. And so, travel incentives and just overall, compensation too, the more they produce, the more they make.
Love it. Love it. What are you doing for marketing these days?
So marketing these days, I'm really focused on, the lead game. That's really, I used to do a lot of direct mail, postcards. Man, I grew really fast back when I first started with postcards. But, the thing with that was, hey, you're throwing money up against the wall. You can't really track it that well. And you don't know all the time, who's calling in from it. No matter how, you try and do a separate phone number, they may have your postcard, but then they look you up online and they call that number. So it's kind of a challenge. So the lead game for us has just been what we're doing primarily, because it just also just gives us endless opportunity to get in front of people. And so far, you do a lot of work for maybe not a lot of sales, but it's a machine that you can truly track the metrics down to the T, which I love a lot just from a business standpoint, because trackability is huge.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is awesome to know like numbers for everything. The more numbers you know, the more you know how to it's like saves you an incredible amount of time. It's like, exactly what levers to pull at any given time, just based on set of numbers.
As a paid lead source, what's your go-to?
Well, I got turned on to, a broker, ILB. I would say going through one broker like that has been really nice. I've done direct with all the big name guys and stuff like that. And I still do, because our carrier, co-ops us, on certain lead vendors. So we'll do some with them, but, only enough to max out what we get co-op for. But the bulk of ours has been coming through ILB, and I like it. You can do massive amounts, and you get a low cost per lead there, and it makes it a lot more flat across the board on cost, and it's the same quality, absolutely same quality.
Yeah.
It's
funny.
Yeah.
It's all this. It's funny because the agents always ask, and I talk about this all the time and think it's kind of funny because it's a question I used to ask is, hey, who are you using? How's, company XYZ, or how's this? And that's not the question to ask. The question is, what contact rate are you seeing that is good, or what should I be looking for? Not, the company, because it's all data, right? It's all just forms people filled out with their information.
Yeah.
And it does, and it fluctuates. Like no matter who you're with, 1 week something's good, another week somebody else is good. It's kind of it definitely fluctuates.
Yeah.
As soon as you
what's
think
the weather like in Texas?
It's amazing. Awesome. So moving on to referrals. What are you doing for referrals? Are you tracking that? Are you having your team reach out and trying to get those?
So we kind of have right now a loose tracking, system on referrals. We do have some, but they definitely focus a lot. After every call, we actually encourage massively. We just started doing hey, Google review, whether we close them or not. The producers are literally just trying to say, hey, I know I could or could not have helped you out today, but at least did I, make you a little bit smarter about, what you need and, and things like that and coverage. And because we've made that switch, it's adding people that are actually writing reviews on Google, and they may not even be an actual paying customer, but that's been something we've been trying to do. And then, referrals, building referral partnerships is always a wonderful thing to do. But, from lenders and realtors and stuff like that, one of the issues there is they have pretty high turnover, and they're, just like insurance agents. So therefore, building those relationships, sometimes we struggle with just because those people move and bounce around.
Yep.
But customer referrals, that's, a whole nother animal. Our inbound team, once a new agent sells something, that's where our inbound, and our service team really kind of focuses on getting those referrals during the onboarding process. And that's ways that they can make, extra activity happen for the agency.
So you just said two of the words that encompass the next question, which is the onboarding process. What do you do when you're onboarding new clients, and how has that changed the game for you in your agency?
Yeah. So, we used to always do absolutely nothing. And
right. Consistently.
Consistently we used to do that. And then,
so it was working.
And changing right now, we've kind of been doing it round robin to the service team of hey, here, you do the onboarding for this sale that they just made. I've realized that that's just, not a smart method. And I'm in the process of converting to where literally there's one person in the office and their job is onboarding. And, obviously they have other duties, but one service person to really onboard, really take, that extra step. Make sure all the documents are signed, make sure, all the discounts are applied properly, really make sure the person, is super ecstatic and happy to be a new customer of ours, help them with cancellations, their prior insurance, all that stuff. And, so it's starting to get a little bit better for us where one person has that set system process and they're improving their ability on generating a live conversation or, getting another referral or a Google review if we hadn't already gotten one. And so that's been kind of, the process that we're starting to do that I can really see a huge boost, in customer satisfaction there.
I love that. And how are you? I mean, this kind of goes along the same lines, and it's probably a very similar answer, but just in general, a lot of agents want to know. I know out here in California, the loss ratio is a big issue. So how do you approach retention and just everything with your agency? How are you just containing it? You're bringing in a ton of clients now. How do you just overall look at that?
Yeah. And so with that, there's only so much you can do to retain business. Yeah. And so when you put a lot of effort into retaining someone, it's come on, if our carriers really wanted this customer, their algorithm would rate them accordingly. And so that's my belief. We can only do so much as an agency to retain someone. Fortunately for us and our carrier just bought another carrier. So we now have like 2 preferred markets for auto home umbrella. So that's been a huge lifesaver this year. And so, will that continue? I don't know. But now, we might be able to round robin them kind of with that aspect, and that might help out. But in the end, leave on a really good note. I mean, help them get canceled. Like, try not to, but hey, if they're getting the same exact coverage, decent service at half the price, who are we to say, okay, you can't do that. That's terrible. Why not let them go, keep in touch, and just bring them back 2-3 years from now?
Create the farm.
And that's really the approach. As long as we're remarketing those win backs, then losing them for a couple of years isn't the end of the world.
So this is very interesting. I guarantee you there's a lot of agents out there listening like, what the heck? Like, we spend so much time. I know so many agents that spend so much time on retention that it spills over into sales. Sales becomes 10% of, the agency's efforts, and 90% is retention and everything else.
Right.
There's a conversation I had with someone. I've never said this on here because it's definitely going to be controversial. But when I first came into the agency, somebody said, we were talking about sales. And I said, what's the swing on retention? Like, you have 4 service agents, right? What if you just flipped them all to sales, did no service? Like, what do you think the retention difference would be? So we were talking about it. It might be a 10% difference. And I said, well, if you did flip your 4 people into sales, how much faster would you grow? And wouldn't that net a better result? And the thing is with that, it's not a realistic scenario. It's not something you should do. You should be empathetic to your clients. This was just an exercise in thought. It wasn't like hey, don't ever help anybody again. But the reason why I said that was because, a lot of agents, especially the more negative ones, are just so focused on I got to keep it. I can't lose 2 autos this month. And it's like, defense. Dude, don't lose the 2. Who cares? Get 4 autos. Go get 4 autos, lose the 2 autos. Like, and that's kind of along the lines that you're saying. But what I love that you said even more is like, take that effort of the retention and flip it into the win backs. Like, that same amount of effort that you're doing to try to keep them might be better served in creating a really awesome win back follow-up campaign to just say, man, if nothing's going right for you, we still want you. I love that.
Well, you can automate that, right? Instead of just being reactive all day and trying to save it. And then the emotional component of it too, right? Where you're bummed out because they're leaving and you're trying to save it because it's do or die. Why not leave them on a happy note where it wasn't all gross, where you're like, please stay. And then they never come back because they're like, that was terrible, right? Automate it, and you just saved yourself a bunch of time.
100%. Super cool.
And if you really want to get crazy with it, get their Facebook, the email they have associated with their Facebook, and then you could actually just retarget them on Facebook. How about that? Throw the pixel on them.
How do you find that email though?
I just went over my own
agents
head.
that have 7 different email addresses.
No, what's your
Craig
Facebook login and password? I do have 32 emails. Too many things. So, well, one of my favorites is besides this podcast, what kind of things do you do to keep yourself motivated?
My wife motivates me on a daily basis.
Wow.
I would
nice
say,
of her.
Yeah, no, she does. And not in a bad way, not like cracking the whip, She literally leads me, just, really inspires me. She's really into health fitness, and I would be the exact opposite. I'm generally lazy, so it really helps me out and it helps me get a lot better just having her just a part of my life. And so every single day she motivates me. I mean, she's
awesome.
Extremely athletic, very fit, just amazing. And I'm always like, okay, yeah, I better go to the gym today. Can't have her, being stronger, faster, fitter than I am. So, she's definitely the number one, motivation for me.
That's the situation in my house.
Nothing else I need.
Stronger, fitter, faster.
Yeah. That's awesome to hear, man. I love that. So going back to the agencies, what do you think is like some of the biggest obstacles that our agencies are going to be facing in the next few years?
I mean, staffing is always going to be an issue. And, obviously, if you're able to, you can always offer better work environment, better pay, to attract the people you want. Other challenges, or getting in touch with people as we've all seen with stir shaking and all that stuff, that makes challenges. But, anytime there's a challenge, there's always someone smart enough to figure a way to overcome it. So far, that hasn't been me. I'm just pirating off everybody else. But, I have no problem implementing other people's ideas. And occasionally I might have one of my own. But, so really it's just staying consistent. It's so easy to get complacent. And like I said, I'm from the military, and we have an old saying that says complacency kills. And it really does. And so that's the number one, killer of anything is complacency.
And crack.
Yeah.
A very close number 2.
I don't know anybody who's died by crack.
Yeah, I guess I don't have any of that in my circles either.
Right.
Well, they're good sayings. So how about your number one recommendation to anybody crazy enough to jump into this world and become an insurance agent?
I mean, definitely pay attention, think for yourself, listen to everyone, but come to your own conclusions, and don't stay negative at all. Like, you just can't. You just have to look at the bright side of everything, because it's all an uphill battle. And goodness, y'all know as well as anybody, if this were super easy, everyone would do it.
Caveman would do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it is easy
no complacency, no crack. No complacency, no crack.
No crack.
It is easy enough to where you don't have to sell that much in order to keep a job, right? Like, what other industry can you be in that you can have a certain amount of like sales this year and a certain amount of sales last year and still be able to continue,
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the residual part of it is amazing.
It is.
The awesome. Math is there, right? Like, it's all there. You can figure it out with math. And if you follow it, you put in the process, you're consistent, it works out. It is pretty amazing.
So, Sheppard, you have gone the distance, my man. I just want to acknowledge you. You've been on the elite calls for the last, couple months, and you're always in there with such an amazing attitude. Like, there's no way anything's going to bring you. You're so positive with everything, and you're such a good influence on us and everybody else. Yeah. So just want to acknowledge you for being such an awesome insurance dude. And your numbers, I mean, are amazing.
Yeah, the team's killing it.
Yeah.
Super cool. Yeah.
You and Carbonell are the current kings right now. Like the two different carriers.
Yeah. Well, you got a couple new guys in there. So, you're going to give them a run for his money. Scale. Awesome, Sheppard. Well, we appreciate it, my man.
Yeah,
awesome.
Thank you. Been awesome.
All right. Well, thank you guys.
Have a good one.
You too.
Hey, what are you still doing here?
Well, while you're still here and while it's fresh in your mind, check out live.teledudes.com.
Yeah, if you weren't listening before, we took notes from over 100 interviews with top agents from around the country and made it into a live webcast.
Using these strategies did help Craig and I write over $10 million in premium in the last couple years.
And let me tell you, on this call, you'll receive the exact blueprint to get the very same results.
Again, that's live.teledudes.com to register for this upcoming Tuesday's live call with us.
And if you jump on with us, we are certain 2022 will be an absolutely fantastic year for you.
See you there.